Good evening, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Akedika show. I trust you've had a wonderful week, and yeah, here we are today. Please join the live as quickly as possible. Settle down, grab your coffee, grab your cold drink, your tea, your popcorn, wherever it is that you need to grab to tune in today's episode because today is going to be a bit more personal. We're going to be discussing a few things that I've been experiencing over the past week, and also just a few of the conversations that have taken place online, which I feel like I need to give my 2 cents on because, I genuinely feel like this is a safe space for me. Like, as soon as I go on the internet, right, and I see like a conversation taking place, I'm like so reserved. I'm just like, oh, you know, but as soon as I'm like, okay, it's Thursday, it's the Hope Akedika show, we talk all things personal and public, and I'm like, right, I'm ready to give my 2 cents on it. I'm ready to talk about it. But yeah, so here we are today. If there's anybody in the live, hi, give me a shout. Let me know you're here. Let me know that we're going to be having a good time together. And just to get straight into it, this week on Tuesday, I went to London to go and support another queen, the beautiful, beautiful Wunmi Bello, on her relaunching of her show. She had a little private screening for a few people, and I'm actually so shocked that I got to be there myself because it was literally so last minute. I saw the email at 11 a.m. and I was just like, there's no way I'm not going because I just had this conviction. I'm like, I have to be there. There's no way I'm not gonna be there. Like, as soon as I saw the email, I was like, right, it's mission impossible. I have to travel around 3 hours to get there, but we're going, okay? And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I made the decision to go because the only thing that would have stopped me is probably laziness and probably feeling like, oh, I'm not prepared. I don't have the right outfit, or my nails ain't done, or whatever excuse I would have made up to not go. But in terms of what I experienced while I was there, gosh, it was phenomenal. I got to see the beautiful lady in a whole different light, as she was so vulnerable. She spoke about, her personal experience being a presenter and a journalist and a host, and she just spoke about how, she had been doing what she's been doing, and from the outside perspective, it was just like a successful show. She's doing amazing, and she is doing amazing, and people loved what she was doing. She's very nurturing in her way of talking to people. She makes people feel comfortable. People open up to her. She has the whole thing on lock. She's a natural. She's good at her job. She's good at what she does. But she did express how she felt like, there was so much more that she wanted to share with the world that she didn't really share. But anyway, let me not spill too much tea because, the first episode is not officially out yet as far as I'm aware right now. I did try to see if she has released anything, but I have not seen anything yet. So let me not say too much, but I am so glad that I went, and it was great meeting her. And she was so grateful for me, like taking the long journey that I took, that she literally just gave me the biggest hug ever. So really appreciate that she showed love and she showed appreciation for, me showing up. But this actually leads me into one of the first online discourses that I want to touch on, which was with Esther Falana, the statement she made on how Black women, based on her personal experience, are not the nicest, not the most approachable, are quite mean, and it's a result of oppression, and it's a result of oppression that has made them this way. And let me just say, the girls are not too happy. The girlies were not too happy. Obviously, this landed on the Shade Borough, and people were very outraged. How could you say that? Another Black woman tearing women down. Oh, we're so over this conversation. Black women are just trying to live their soft life. We're trying to just do better and move on. But and I hear that. I hear that it's not nice when we're constantly criticizing each other online. Every day, every month is something new, about Black women and what we do or what we don't do, right? And constantly being under a microscope, especially when we're doing it to each other. But and this is all women in general, actually. I'm just going to put that out there because this is very much a shared experience amongst women across all races and backgrounds, because I am let me just say, I have integrated with everybody from any background. Like, I have made friends from all kinds of backgrounds and all walks of life, because that's just the person I am. I don't limit my social circle to one race. Although I'm very, I'm very proud of who I am and where I come from. I make friends with who I draw towards and who I naturally connect with, and that's just how it's always been. Um, anyway, back to the subject. She made some very clear points, and I feel like that anybody who was triggered is because they know there's truth to what she said. Like, there's so much truth to what she said, and she did not exclude herself. That's one thing I can respect about what she said. She did not exclude herself from the judgment or from the comments that she made, because she was able to recognize that, in the past she may not have been the most approachable. Actually, before I go on any further and talk the whole story, let me just show you guys the video of what she said if you have not already come across it.
Do better, I'm even learning, I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm understanding, I'm learning to be nicer, more approachable, warmer. Like when someone's staring at me, like before I'd be staring back, but now I'm smiling, like I'm saying hi. Like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you kill people with kindness. So that's where my statement was coming from. I just feel like black people, just black women, we just need to be kinder, because it's just not nice. And yeah, that's that. So
yeah, that's just a little short clip of how the whole discussion went about. There are a few more posts in relation to the conversation as well. You can have a look at it yourself later if you've not already seen it. But let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know your personal experiences, anything you've experienced personally, or, if there's any sense to what she said, whether you agree or disagree, let me know. This is not a one-way streak. You're more than allowed to, counter-attack the argument that I make myself as well. But as she was saying, I genuinely do believe that we could be nicer, we could be more approachable. And just from my experience in London, 2 days ago when I was at the Wunmi Bello show, private screening, I met so many beautiful, talented women, and me being me, I'm so excited. I want to meet everyone. I want to talk to people. And I can come across quite reserved, but when I make eye contact with someone and I get somebody trying to avoid eye contact, or get somebody trying to do a little looky up and downy, and that's just instant you're blocking me off. You're not even going to give me a chance. You're not even going to let me greet you. You're not even going to let me get to know you as a person. And instantly you've locked off the potential of getting to know somebody who could be truly an amazing person. But no, you did not allow that opportunity to happen based off your attitude. And that's exactly what she was talking about, is the being not approachable. Like, somebody can't even come up to you and be like, oh, hi darling, how are you? I love your outfit, because that's just my face. Oh, I'm such a nice person when you get to know me. Why does it need for me to get to know you for 5 to 10 years before I discover the nice person in you? Why does it need to be a thing of, oh, only the people who are closest to me know actually how amazing of a person I am? You're lying to yourself. Don't lie. Like, if you're a good person, whether somebody met you in a day, in a split second, your aura gives it away straight away if you're a good person or you're not a good person. And yeah, a lot of women, and I get it actually, how she was saying, this is one thing I was like, oh, this went over people's heads big time. It's because of oppression. And let me just give an example that we can all, we can all understand. Hollywood. Like, I'm very, once I listen to interviews, I go into researching backstories, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Hollywood is one of those places that turned women against women at some point, and they had to fight and work hard to come out of that place. And to this day, it's still very much existent. Like, the competition and the hatred between women still very much exists, but at least it's been acknowledged that it's happened, and women were pinned against each other and put against each other, especially when opportunity is so little for women of color in the workspace. They feel like they need to be, I need to be on top. There's only room for one. There's only room for one black woman. There's only room for one, big white woman. There's only room for one Asian woman in this space. So I need to be the best. I can't make friends with anybody. I need to be the shining star, And that's one of the points she made as well, not in that very clip, but in the whole conversation in general. And now it's obviously trickled into the influencer lifestyle and the social media platforms that exist and are available, and the opportunities that come with that from companies, from clothing brands, makeup brands, you know, sponsorships, organizations, you name it. And for the longest, we did see like, oh, we finally have a black girl representing. Oh, you know, we're grateful for the one who makes it through the door. We're like, yes, she did it. We can do it too. Yeah, you get through the door, but don't shut the door behind you. Leave the door open so everybody else can come through as well. You know, that's how it works. That's why we rooted for you in the first place. That's why we were excited to see you in that position, because more little girls of color could see themselves being in those positions as well. But instead, you know, these girls, they idolize you, and they get to the point where they're able to be in the same space and room as you. And instead of being embraced and being like, oh, welcome, I'm so glad to see people who look like me in this space. I'm so glad to embrace more people who look like me. Instead, they're getting the look up and down. They're getting shunned. They're getting silent treatment. They're not feeling welcome. They're not being guided, you know, because one thing I truly believe is I went through it so you don't have to. Like, that's a motto for me in life. Like, Oprah Winfrey went through what she went through so that we as modern day journalists / presenters, hosts, don't have to, because she paved the way. You know, it's just standing on the giants of on the shoulders of giants. It's in science, it's in whatever it is, medical, you know, law, the industry, whether it's, you know, entertainment industry. That's how it should work. That's how it should be. But guys, let me know in the conversation, in the discussions, what you think. But yeah, it's a very interesting conversation. Like, I am all for supporting women, you know. And actually an example of
welcome back at your
was when I was there, I went outside to take a phone call, and as I was coming back in, you know, there was a lady stood in the door, and she was just stood there like, do you want to come in? And I'm just like, you're asking me the nicest thing, but your body language, the way you're saying it is like, why are you angry? Like, why? It's not very warm, it's not inviting. And I'm not saying you have to become pretentious and overly nice, and no, but it just look like you want to fight me. Like, I don't even know you, but you're asking me something that could be a nice thing, but you're saying it like you're ready to fight someone, you know? Like, what is that all about? But, you know, let me know, do you have a personal experience that has made you feel this way, or do you feel like we're way past this and it should not be a conversation anymore? And, you know, the only reason you're experiencing it is because you attract what you put out into the world, and the reason that she's experiencing all that, you know, women not being supportive towards her, is because maybe herself, she has not been a supportive woman to other women, even though she did clearly state that she recognizes that in the past that may have been the case for her, but she's working on it, or worked on it. And that even other women who are coming out and saying, you know, she welcomed me with open arms in the industry, so that can't be necessarily used against her. And in that same line of conversation, I actually want to speak about something that is also very near and dear to my heart as well, and that is from the instance that took place with Doctor Shola Shogbaminu. Oh my goodness, I can't even say her name right now. Shogbaminu. Doctor Shogbaminu was actually, you know, on a TV show, and I believe it was live, because if this was not live, they would have edited it out, but I'm sure it was a live TV show where she appeared on a show with the presenter Dawn Simon, I believe that is her name. And let me just show you guys the incident when it took place.
welcome back. You're watching, joined by lawyer Doctor Shola Shogbaminu. How do I pronounce? Shogbaminu.
Okay. So this is terrible.
I know,
especially
it's terrible.
For presenting.
It's not easy.
Okay.
Give her a break.
No. Go back and start again.
Right,
just
okay.
read
Shola,
it. Yeah.
Moss,
Phonetically.
Shogbaminu.
Do it again.
Oh, come on, I got the Shola right.
Do it again. And read it
Shola,
phonetically.
Moss, Shogbaminu.
You just missed the beat. Try again. Go on.
Shola, welcome to the show.
No, you will say my name. Now read it phonetically.
Shogbaminu.
Okay, Shogbaminu, but well
There
done.
you go. Great accent. And Carol Malone.
I'm easy. This is the first time in my life I say myself, I'm easy.
Carol, we know, love. Don't worry about that.
That's the incident, the clip of the incident where the presenter couldn't say her name. And my phone actually did autocorrect on Doctor Shola Shogbaminu's name. That's why I was reading it, I'm like, that's not her name. But anyway, I am so glad that she took her stand and she did not allow to be fazed by that. And this is Dr. Shola, this is what she stands for. She is very much a big advocate. And this is just another one of those things that she is being an advocate for and being a pioneer for. And she does not, like, I know she realizes what she's doing, because even in her own statement, she says, I do these things for my kids because I do not want them to go into spaces like schools and feel like they need to belittle themselves or, you know, make less of themselves and who they are with their identity, to make other people feel more comfortable or to make other people feel like they can accept them when they're less of themselves, of who they really are. And, you know, it's very much a real thing how people, especially in the corporate world, in schools, even before we get to the workplace, in schools, you go to school, you have a native name, like for myself, where I have a very traditional name. And, you know, coming from a different country and coming to this country and saying my name out loud, and kids be like, what is that? I've never heard of that before, you know, ha. And it's just like, and even when teachers are, it doesn't help when the teachers who are supposed to be setting the example are making as if your name is the problem and not them making the effort to learn your name, you know? And it's just like, when they're not setting the standard, then the children are just going to follow suit. They're going to be thinking, yeah, it's funny, we can make fun of people's names, but that is not the case. And a lot of us have been forced to, you know, make our names more, what's the word? Englishanize our names a bit more so that, you know, anybody can pronounce our names, anybody can say our name. And it's so wrong. But unfortunately, a lot of people have done that in the corporate world. And even another influencer recently came out and spoke about how she wanted to take her identity back by reintroducing herself as who she is, as, you know, her full name and who she is. And I get it, like in showbiz, people change their names, like for example, actors. I didn't even know Jamie Foxx's name wasn't really Jamie Foxx, you know, and prayers to Jamie Foxx and his family. We pray for speedy recovery because God knows what's going on there. And she could have helped her pronounce it though, because she did try. And yeah, I do understand this comment, what you're saying. But the thing is, what you have to understand is she is a presenter. You invite me onto your show as a presenter. It's for you, it's your responsibility to take the time out to find out who I am, what I do, how to say my name. And this is very much a thing. Even on another platform, I remember they were showing a scene backstage and they were just, you know, rehearsing, going through the basics. Okay, this is who you are, this is what you do, this is the name. Okay, am I saying it right? You know, just those little things that she could have made the effort with. And the thing is, a lot of white people have gotten away with doing this for so many years that we've allowed it, because before it was so awkward, uncomfortable. Okay, let's just, you know, brush past it. Very awkward, uncomfortable moment. Keep it pushing. No. Like, people reduced themselves, reduced who they were, felt that like who they were was, you're being difficult, you know. What she did was very, it was stern, it was bold, it was uncomfortable and awkward. But that's how people of color have been feeling pretty much their whole lives in this westernized societies, you know. What she felt in those few seconds, that awkwardness and uncomfortableness that she felt in those few seconds, trust and believe, I felt that my whole 15 years in this UK every time I speak to somebody new. And I'm not even exaggerating. So as much as I agree with you there, it doesn't take much, especially when a name, I know it looks complicated and it looks hard because God, like, trust and believe, it's a completely different language that you've never, you know, encountered before. But once you put your mind to it, you can pronounce it, because there are some names, in, you know, even in the Western world, such as Francesca, you know, if you gave that name to a child who grew up in I don't know, Uganda, and they only speak Swahili, or wherever it is in Africa they speak Swahili, it's like Frankiskuska. They wouldn't even say it like Francesca, because how you say the name and how it's spelled, you don't look the same, you know. But once you learn the pronunciation, like even Laura, the name Laura, it could be like Laura. What's that? Laura? And then you'd have to correct them. They'd be like, oh, Laura. Oh, okay. You know, and we move forward. We keep it pushing. Yeah, true in that sense, but it's not just a white thing. Black women, men can't pronounce every black name. No, exactly. Very true. It is a struggle amongst ourselves as well in different communities and societies, because again, when it comes to language, it's a thing to do with the tongue, and my language, my native language, has a lot of tongue twisters in it, and these tongue twisters, not everybody, just the words can roll off my tongue much more easier than maybe for somebody else who's never had to roll their tongue in that way. Same with French, same with Spanish. You know, when you're trying to say bonjour, no, it's not bonjour, it's bonjour. You know, it's just little things like that. But like I was saying, like for example, the Jamaicans, African Caribbean Jamaicans, they find it hard to say certain African words as well, or certain African names, because they have been disconnected from their roots. They can't, the language has been disconnected, it's been taken away from them. So I had an encounter actually when I went out with my friend and for brunch, and at the front door was two women who I believe come from a Caribbean Jamaican background, whichever in the West Indies there, I can't place them exactly, but based off the accent, they're coming from that part of the world. And they're like, oh, I've never heard of this name before. How do you pronounce it? Uhupa. You know, it at first, the one was very nice and calm about it, and she was like, she really wanted to know my name. She was like, no, please tell me, I really genuinely want to know. Whereas the other one was just like, oh, very dismissive. Oh yeah, it's you, okay, you can go through. Yeah, you know, can't really say a name, whatever. You know, it is a problem everywhere, Susanna, and I do recognize that. Trust me, more black people actually have made me uncomfortable. Like even in my class, a little black boy was the one making fun of my name because his name was Trevor, and Trevor is a white man's name, you know, as much as it's a universal name, let me say. And, you know, he's happy to be Trevor, you know? Whereas me, Uhupa, what's that? Ain't nobody ever heard of a person named Uhupa, you know? Oh, Jebby Tebby, welcome to the live. Some people want to stay in a comfortable state, even if it means mispronouncing someone's name. Yes, exactly. And it's that comfortableness, you know, comfortable is a very bad state to be in, actually. And for a long time we have accommodated, trust me, my sister, we have over accommodated. We have done everything not to make ourselves too big, too loud, and people are like, oh, but black people are so loud, they're so vulgar, they're this, that. Trust me, there are people who have kept themselves like this because all they ever did was try and make everybody else comfortable and try to cater to them. But no more. You will say my name. Oh, I felt shivers down my spine when she said you will say my name. I felt shivers down my spine because I'm like, the little 10 black girl in me was crying. I was like, wow, if I had that boldness and confidence. And I know her kids will have it too, because her kids take on her name, and I know her kids will have that confidence, and it will carry them through life feeling bold and not feeling like they need to belittle themselves. But yeah, it's a very touchy one, and it's a very personal one that, you know, not a lot of people can relate to, but it's something new we've brought up again. You know, it's just a little bit like colorism. When we introduced colorism to other races, they were like, oh, you know, it was like, no, but you did treat us differently based on our complexion. I know you realized that colorism exists, but just because we're talking about it, oh, uncomfortable, touchy subject. But, you know, we had to talk about it for us to get past the uncomfortable stage. But yeah, 5 more minutes, and before our time is up, I just quickly want to address another thing as well that was said. And this one, you know, I don't know, I'm siding with the white folks a little bit on this one. Our beloved actor, Adjoa Andoh, she actually features in the Bridgerton series. Is this a clip or a video or just a picture? It's just a picture, okay. She actually features in Bridgerton. I'm sure you've seen it. We're all obsessed and in love with this series, and they just did the spin-off of the Queen and her backstory as a child. So I'm sure you guys know who this beautiful woman is, even though she has been now reported to be the most complained about statement made in Ofcom, by the public, because of what she said about the coronation, about how she upset people by saying that, on the balcony when the king and queen was stood there, it's the most white, the most white scene that she's seen, or something like that. Looking at those young people, yeah, she basically said that it was just too white. There was no mix of people. And my thing is, sis, Meghan Markle was the little droplet that we've had of people of color in this royal family in a very long time, or on record, as far as we're concerned, even though it's been reported that, there's some, but it's all allegations, speculations. But what we know for a fact to be true, Meghan Markle, right? And we've seen how she's been received. And obviously her kids, they don't even look like mixed race, or they don't look like they're more white passing. And that's not a bad thing. It's not their fault. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad, it's just who they are. It's their identity. And we should accept them and receive them and love them that way. It was a bit of a naive statement to make, because I'm like, who else did you expect to see on that balcony, darling? But I do understand what she's saying, because it just makes you remember that as integrated and as, as far gone as we feel like we have gone in society, like when you think about the monumental things, like the things that are still very prominent and important in this, United Kingdom, it's still predominantly white, and you just have to accept that, accept it with a pinch of salt. It shouldn't make you uncomfortable. At the end of the day, the royal family is, a white family. Comment section. It was very personal for her, I felt that. But because the white lady was not coming in an attacking manner, I did feel that was needed. Yeah, no, I'm glad she held her ground, to be honest. I'm glad she held her ground. And I'm sorry that she had to be the sacrificial lamb for all the other people who have been ignorant, But that'll teach you. I'm not talking about it from a race point of view. I'm talking about it from a presenter point of view. She could have done it in a much joking manner, instead of saying, let's move past it, huffing and puffing, But she did hold her ground. In the end, she was like, this woman is not gonna let it go. Let me just say her name so we can move past it. And that's what she should have done the first time she politely asked her, instead of trying to play it off as if it wasn't important. But no, I do understand. But guys, I have 1 minute left, and I have completely kind of lost my train of thought. But back to the comment about the royal family. The comment was very unnecessary. I feel like that was just intrusive thoughts. I feel like my good sis had a moment of intrusive thoughts taking over. She did not mean to say that. That is something that will come to my mind, and I would say it to myself, but not on national television, sis. But she makes a fair point. At the end of the day, the royal family is a reminder that this is a predominantly white country, and there's nothing, it's not a bad thing. But at the end of the day, people should be treated as people and be treated with respect. That's all. Whether, no matter who you are, we should all be treated with respect and equally. But that does not mean, tokenism needs to take place everywhere. Like in the royal family, we need tokenism right now. We need to put more black people there right away now, so that, to show that we're not racist. Companies do that. Doesn't change anything. If they're racist, they're racist. If they're not, they're not. Tokenism does not take away racism. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me in today's discussion. I'm so glad we had these conversations, actually. They're very heated. They're very unresolved. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but they need to be had, And thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope I will see you here next week, Thursday. Have a lovely evening.